guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read in January and February. Alright, so I have read a total of 6 books, 6.5 in the last 2 months. February was definitely not a good reading month for me. I was super busy and I just didn't have a whole lot of time to read. Listen, I wish I could be like Jessica and read 19 books in 1 month. I would love to read that fast and get through that many books. If you guys haven't heard of her channel or seen any of her videos, I will leave her channel link down below. It's Jessica Faith Reads. I absolutely love all of her videos, but I wish you would share her secrets because I would love to know. I think I just need to time manage better, but we did read some books and we did find 2 5 stars. So I really am excited to talk about those books. Did have one that I didn't absolutely love and one that I just got halfway through and had to put down. All right, so starting off with January, I'm just gonna kind of talk about the books in the order that I read them, but I ended up reading 4 books total in the month of January. I did do a mood reading vlog. If you guys haven't seen that, I will leave it linked in the card up here. You guys should go check that out because I have more in-depth reviews on 3 of these books that I'm gonna talk about. So I won't go into as much detail on those books, but I will still give you my overall thoughts. All right, so the first book that I read in 2026 was The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. If you guys don't know anything about this book, this is actually the second book in the Windy City series. The first book is Mile High, and a lot of people didn't love that book, but I really enjoyed it. So if you didn't like that book, definitely keep going with the series. This book is absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to jump into book number 3, which is Caught Up. In the first book, we have Stevie, which is our female main character. Her brother, Ryan, is actually the male main character in this book, and her best friend, Indigo, is the female main character in this book. So in Mile High, we find out that Indy was cheated on by her longtime boyfriend, and she has nowhere to live because she lived with that man, and obviously she don't want to live with him anymore. So she goes to stay with her parents during the summertime in Florida, and when she comes back, she actually debates getting a different job because she doesn't know if she wants to be in Chicago around all these memories, but she ends up getting promoted. She is a flight attendant. She gets promoted to lead flight attendant, so she decides to come back, but she needs to find a place to stay. But she doesn't want to spend all of her money on rent because she's trying to save up for something big in her life. So she wants to be able to afford a place, but also save for what she's trying to save for while saving for her own place. She's kind of just stuck financially, and Stevie ends up convincing her brother Ryan to let Indigo move in. You guys, the amount of growth that happens in between these 2 characters, not just like together, but also individually, they grow so much, and it's so cool to see their dynamics. They are completely opposites attract. I mean, they're kind of similar a little bit, but it's mainly an opposites attract situation. Ryan definitely has his own struggles that he doesn't like to talk about, and he's just a very closed off individual, whereas Indigo is very outgoing, bubbly, full of life, full of color, and she just comes in and kind of wrecks his life, turns it upside down. You definitely have fake dating tropes in this book because Indigo is actually a part of her best friend's wedding, and her ex is also a part of it. They were supposed to be together, but obviously that did not happen, so she needs a date to this wedding. And Ryan is also, I didn't even say this, Ryan's an NBA star, and he gets promoted to captain of his team, and his, I forget what it's called, general manager, I don't know, the boss of the team, pretty much just thinks Ryan is too closed off. He's not very personable, and he thinks that's what's definitely holding him back from being an amazing captain. So Ryan decides to lie to him and say that Indigo is his girlfriend. So it's kind of a fake dating situation both ways. And this is one of those books where you can just feel them falling for each other before they actually acknowledge it themselves, and I love when books do that. I do not like when books tell you that they're falling in love and that they're having all these feelings before you can like feel it and know that's happening for yourself. And I also love how Liz Tomforde sprinkles mental health throughout all of her books. I feel like every character that she puts in the books has something they have to go through, which everybody does. We're human. I think it's really realistic to put those things in the books and to just show how they deal and heal through those situations. I just really loved this book. I really enjoyed it. Ryan, definitely an acts of service guy. I feel like he has almost every single love language, honestly, but his devotion and thoughtfulness towards Indigo is unmatched. I absolutely love Ryan. Indy, I also just love her. She's also a reader like all of us, and I think there's some pretty funny quotes when she's trying to convince Ryan to become a book boyfriend. But yeah, I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars, and I think you guys should read it. The next book that I picked up is actually a new to me author. This is Abby Jimenez. I know I have never read an Abby Jimenez book until January, but this is Part of Your World by her. Absolutely loved this book. This one I have so many mixed feelings on. I ended up giving this one, I think, 4 stars. I feel like I should know this before I start filming, but yeah, I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I talked about this in my mood reading vlog. I feel like you could break this book up into 3 separate chunks. I enjoyed the first third. Second third, I didn't like. I was like, if this isn't a reading vlog, I might think about DNFing. Third part, I was 5 stars. I could not put the book down. I loved it so much, and I just love how much growth we had in the last third of the book. But yeah, definitely mixed feelings all throughout this book. There's definitely some really funny parts, some really cute parts. There's a dog that has so much character in this book, which I love. I am a huge dog person. This book is a part of a trilogy. I believe you can read them as a standalone, but it's recommended that you read them in order. Could be wrong, but that's what I understand about this series. This one follows our female main character. Her name is Alexis Montgomery. She's actually an ER doctor following in her family's legacy. The hospital that she works at is like a top-notch hospital. It's been one that's making leaps and bounds in the medical field. You would want to work there, and it's been around, I think, for 100 or 125 years. It's been around for a really long time, and every single year that that hospital has been open, a Montgomery has been on staff. And her dad is a very egotistical, prideful, not a nice man at all, and he holds the absolute highest standards for his kids, and if they even fall a little bit short, they're a complete disgrace to the whole family and the hospital, and I really don't like him. He is not a nice man to read about. We also have our main male character. His name is Daniel, and I absolutely love him. He carried this whole entire book for me. He lives in a small town, and I think if I remember correctly, his family has been like mayors, leaders of this town forever, since the town was established pretty much. And he just loves his whole town. He loves providing for them. He loves providing for his friends and family. I just love it. Like the small town feel, it feels really small. And I love getting to know all the characters. The way the whole town shows up for one another is amazing to read about. Yeah, everybody just knows everybody in that town. And we start off with Alexis getting stuck in a ditch because she swerved for a raccoon. She calls for a tow truck, and the tow truck driver actually is drunk at a bar in the only restaurant that's open in that town. Well, I guess, I don't know if you really know if it's a restaurant. But anyways, Daniel shows up and he actually pulls her out, and she ends up going to the only bar that's open, and Daniel ends up showing up there too, and his friends kind of make a bet like, oh, you can't take her home, I'll bet you $100. So he goes up to cash out his tab to go home, and he warns her, hey, my friends are trying to make a bet. It's for somebody to take you home. And she ends up just saying, well, why don't we act like you're taking me home? You get the $100 and we split it. And then they end up having a one-night stand. And that one-night stand turns into months-long situationship. This is where it gets really frustrating for me, and the part where I almost DNF'd it. You just don't really get to know Alexis a ton throughout the first to middle section of the book. I talked about this more in my reading vlog, but I just feel like we could have gotten so much more from Alexis, and she could have gave a better explanation to Daniel of why she didn't want to be in a relationship with him. It's because her dad sucks, by the way. She's also going through a breakup, and she lives with her ex-boyfriend. He will not move out of the house because they're kind of fighting for the house, waiting to go through legal proceedings for that. I just feel like she could have talked to him about it, should have opened up to him a little bit more. I mean, I kind of understand where she's coming from because her dad is just, he's the way he is, and her mom doesn't help stand up for her at all. But I don't know, if it wasn't for Daniel, I definitely would have struggled through the middle third of the book. I mean, I did, but it would have been way worse. But the end of the book, the way that it all wrapped up, Alexis finding herself and finally standing up for what she deserves, it was so fun to see, and I could not put the book down. 4 stars for me. I definitely would recommend this book, and I'm really excited to jump into Yours Truly, which is the next one, and I'm pretty sure it's her best friend. So I'm excited to hopefully enter back into Wakan because I do miss that town, and I do think about this book quite a bit, actually. There's also some Grey's Anatomy references in here. If you guys are into Grey's Anatomy, you should definitely pick this up. The next one kind of pains me to talk about because it's a new release. This is Woman Down by Colleen Hoover. I had absolutely no idea she was coming out with a new book until like 2 weeks before it was released. So I pre-ordered it. Took me a while to get into this book. Like the first couple chapters was a podcast style start, and I didn't love that. It was just hard for me to follow along on what was happening. And then once we got back into her point of view, it picked up a little bit for me. But then, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I had to skim like the last half of the book. Not like lightly skimmed, I processed what was happening, but I didn't love this book at all. I ended up giving it a 2.5 stars. I can see the potential in this book, in this storyline, and I know that there's an audience for it somewhere. It just was not for me at all. I didn't love it. I was interested in the plot like the first little bit, and then it just lost me. This book follows Petra Rose. This is an author who ended up having a really bad movie adaptation, and so many people went for her, attacked her for it, and she kind of went into dormancy. She was really anxious to just write any more stories, so she ends up taking a trip to a cabin that she normally does when she's trying to write a story. And the first night that she's there, cops show up and tell her that somebody was murdered outside her cabin. Well, not murdered. They escaped from a prison and themselves. So she's really freaked out after this, as anyone would be. And then a cop shows up to take her statement, and the story that she's actually writing is based on a cop. And so her mental fog kind of drifts away because of all this stuff that's happening. And then she's actually talking to a police officer. So that night she gets down, she writes so much of the beginning of her book, and she just has a lot of inspiration. Then it starts to dwindle away. She's waiting for this cop to reach out to her. The story unfolds from there. My issue with this book is, to me, it's just really cringy. It's just, I feel like it's very insta-lovey, if that's the right word. They don't even have a loving relationship. It's just insta-lust, I guess I should say. And the lust is cringy. I don't know how to explain any of this without giving too much away plot-wise, but they just don't really know each other, but then they act like they know each other, and then she ends up telling the cop about what book she's writing, and then they end up role-playing. Like, he pretends to be the cop in her book, and she pretends to be the main character in her book. I'm just gonna stop there. I don't want to spoil anything if you actually want to read this book, but the role-playing was really weird to me. I don't know, it wasn't absolutely terrible. There were some interesting parts throughout the book, and I was intrigued to see how the book was gonna end, but I just wasn't really interested to follow along. Like, I could have probably just read a Cliff Notes and would have been happy. There was also just some inconsistencies. Like, there was one part where they both changed into robes, and then in the next page they were both in towels, and then the power was turned off, but she was taking a hot shower. I mean, I'm sure there could be some sort of solar thing, I don't know, but even a gas water heater, you need electricity to make it run. So there were just some parts I was like, what is happening? How is this happening? I thought we were just here, but now we're here. I don't know. I just didn't love this one. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars because, like I said, I could see where the plot could be interesting to some people. I'm sorry if any of you enjoyed this book. It just wasn't for me. All right, now we get to my first 5-star of 2026. I am obsessed with this book. This is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu. And this was just one of those books where I had no intention on picking this one up. And then I saw somebody on Instagram read Fallen Stars. So I was like, it's kind of calling to me. So I picked it up, started reading it. I was hooked from page 1. Again, I had this one in my reading vlog. If you want, my reactions at the ending was just blew my mind. I loved the way this book ended. If you guys are into romantasy, definitely pick this book up. It is so dang good. So this magic system in this world is pretty much based off of the zodiac signs. So for example, Pisces is a patron star. Stars are considered gods in this world, and they rule over a specific kingdom in this realm. And in these kingdoms, the patron star can pass down certain powers. Generally, each kingdom has 3 different powers that it's given, and it is very rare that one person possesses all 3 powers, which both of our main characters do. I don't think it's that much of a spoiler because you do find out relatively quickly that both of them possess all 3 powers. But yeah, our female main character, her name is Ilara, and she is a princess of the Night Kingdom of Esteria. And again, you find out really quickly, you're plopped right into this book where Alara is being kidnapped. She is bound, passed out in this wagon, wakes up with the only memory of her parents being killed, and a lot of her people are also killed in the process. And you don't really know why, which I really love it when books do that. You're just thrown right into everything and you're trying to figure out and unravel what is happening. So yeah, she's being kidnapped from Esteria into Helios. Helios is the kingdom of sunlight, and right away you meet the king, King Idris, I believe that's how you say it, and his son is Prince Lorenzo, also goes by Enzo. Enzo is our main male character, and you find out that the king of Helios kidnaps Alara for a very specific reason. He has this great master plan and he needs Alara in order to complete this plan. And come to find out, Alara only has access to 2 of her powers. She has no idea how to access her 3rd power, which is definitely one that they need to complete his grand scheme. So Lorenzo is tasked with training her and honing all of her powers pretty much to become this powerful weapon. Alara also has this prophecy placed on her that she is destined to fall for the King of Stars, which is Ariete, and it's going to kill them both. Definitely a prophecy that her parents have shielded her from her whole life, and she just recently finds out about it. So that definitely plays into King Idris's plan. This book is definitely an enemies to lovers. I wouldn't say it's true enemies to lovers, but it's definitely an enemies to lovers. And again, it's one of those books where you really feel their feelings for each other before they admit it, which I really enjoyed. I think the magic system, like I said, is really unique. I've never read a celestial romantasy before, but I think the author did an amazing job taking us through this world, this journey. There were so many plot twists and things I personally didn't see coming or put together. I wasn't completely in the dark. I did guess some things, but the ending, absolutely insane. You guys definitely need to pick this book up. The only thing I wish this book had was Lorenzo's point of view, because I would have loved to know what was going on through his head through certain scenes. But I mean, it is a pretty long book and I understand you got to cut it somewhere, but I would have really enjoyed to have his point of view. Nonetheless, this was still a 5-star read. This book had some beautiful quotes. I love this author's writing. I love that she puts you in this world. That is something I love and I really look for in books, is very atmospheric and you feel like you're in that space, and that space is really familiar to you and you could just easily plop back into this world and know exactly what's going on, what everything looks like. And I feel like this author really did that for me. If you plan on reading this series, I would say to read these close together, because there is not super crucial moments that I've found so far, but there's definitely small things that show up in the 2nd book that if I didn't read them close together, I wouldn't have picked up on them. And the 3rd book was actually supposed to come out at the end of this year, but the author has since come out and said that she needs a couple more months, so it's not going to come out till 2027, which I'm sad about, but I feel like she's just making the book the best that it can be. So I'm really excited for that. Highly recommend this book. Easy 5 stars. That was the last book that I read in January. Moving on to February. This one I'm really bummed that I didn't film a reading vlog with. I was in the process of doing a 24-hour readathon and I failed miserably, and I just decided to scrap that video. But I have not had a book make me sob the way this book made me bawl. Like, I absolutely bawled. If I have a picture, I'll put it here. But oh my gosh, please read this book. It is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book with my whole heart. Easy 5 stars. I don't even have the words to describe this book. This book, I guess you would classify as a historical fiction. I don't know. I'm terrible at classifying books. I have never read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book before, so it was definitely an adjustment to get used to her writing, but I love her writing and I am so excited to pick up more of her books. If you guys have read Taylor Jenkins Reid books, please leave in the comments down below which ones I should pick up. I know there's The 7 Husbands and Daisy Jones and the Six, but let me know which one I should pick up next. If you have read either one of those books or if you have a different one you recommend, please let me know because I really want to read more of her books. But this one follows our female main character. Her name is Joan Goodwin, and you start out learning that she is a teacher. I can't remember her degree. She's content with her life as a professor of physics and astronomy. So yeah, she is a professor together, and she's really close with her younger sister, who actually ends up having a kid really early on, and she really relies on Joan to help her out. And Joan's love for her niece Frances is out of this world. You can just feel how deeply she cares and loves this little girl as her own. It's like it's her own daughter, and I just love their dynamic, and I love their relationship, and I love how close they are. But yeah, her sister Barbara is the one that actually ends up coming across this commercial that's saying that they are looking for female astronaut candidates to go through this training and potentially become an astronaut. So Joan waits like 2 weeks. She's not sure if she should apply or not. She ends up applying, doesn't get in the first time. A second round happens a few years later. She ends up getting in, and it's just her journey throughout school. And again, the way Taylor Jenkins Reid just puts you in this world. I read this part of this book where she's in training and she's jumping out of a parachute in the back of a boat, and it is sunset outside, and it was sunset in the book, and it was just perfect timing, and you could just vividly picture what was going on and the growth she had within herself. The quotes that are in this book, I do not dog ear books at all, but my annotation supplies are in my book room, which hopefully I'm gonna start working on in the next week or two. Knock on wood. I ended up dog-earing this book, which makes me cringe, but I couldn't not come back to these quotes. You kind of have like a found family thing going on with the recruits. They just all get so close, and they all have such unique personalities. And Joan, I feel like she is such an emotionally aware and caring person that she really takes the time to develop relationships with all of these characters and gets to know them one-on-one and understand why some of them may be a little bit different and why they don't get along with other people as well, and she really sticks to them and helps them progress also in their life, in their career, and I just love that about her. We also explore her sexuality in this book, and she ends up falling for another recruit, and I can't even talk about it. I'll start crying, but you just have to read it. I didn't even say this, but at the beginning of the book, you are thrown into present day, which something insane's happening in space, something not good at all, and you're really just wondering what the heck is gonna happen. Where do we go from here? And then after that scene, you're put back into the past, and everything that I already talked about continues happening. Them going through school, her relationship with her sister and Frances. So much happens in this book, and I don't feel like it's a very long book, but it was so easy to get through. I could not put this book down. Absolutely love it. Please, please, please read this book, but have tissues, because I sobbed. I came out of my room after I finished this book and I was bawling, and Xander was so shocked. He's like, I didn't know a book could make you cry this much, and I had to sit there for a minute with him because I was not okay. But yeah, easy 5-star. Okay, so the last book that I finished in the month of February was The Crash by Frida McFadden. This book was on my 26 books that I want to read in 2026. If you guys haven't watched that video, I will leave it linked, but I guess this one was also put on there. Actually, we actually crossed off 3 books that were on that list, so we have all of these were there, so that's fun. Sorry if we moved a little bit, my camera battery died, but anyways, moving on. The Crash by Frida McFadden. I also have mixed feelings on this book. Overall, I enjoyed it. I had a fun experience while I was reading this. I wasn't really bored throughout any of it, but I did end up giving this book 3 stars. Again, I feel like when a book can make me feel like I'm in the story and I can see and feel exactly what's not feel, but you know, see and experience exactly what's going on. I think that it was pretty predictable. This book follows our female main character, Tegan. She is currently 8 months pregnant. She is a single mom, and very quickly you figure out what happened and why she's a single pregnant mom. And she's very upset, distressed, and she ends up going to drive to see her older brother to hopefully, you know, help console her. She can be with somebody that she cares about and that's in her family. The only thing is, this particular day that she is going to go see him, it is supposed to blizzard that night, and she ends up taking a last minute shift at the grocery store she works at to earn a little bit more money before she goes over there. She ends up leaving way too late, way later than she should have, and she gets caught in this blizzard. She ends up crashing into a tree. She breaks her ankle. It's not a good situation, and this pickup truck pulls up behind her, and this man helps get her out of her car with her belongings, and he takes her back to his house because the snow is way too much for them to make it safely to a hospital. And he tells his wife everything that's going on. His wife is actually a retired nurse. It gets very interesting from there. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, they just don't want to let her go. My only issue with this book is I just feel like we were in the same spot the entire book. I mean, a little bit happened, but it was pretty much just the same situation going on throughout this whole book. And it was very predictable. Like the reasonings behind they wouldn't let her leave was very predictable. The only thing that caught me by surprise was the very end, because I had an idea and I was partially correct. The rest of it I was kind of shocked by. But yeah, I don't know. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. But like I said, kind of just stuck in the same situation throughout it. Would I recommend it? If you are a thriller fan and if you like Freida McFadden, I would say give it a try. I enjoyed it. Do I think you need to go out of your way to pick this book up? No, I know a lot of people didn't enjoy this book that do like Freida, that do like thrillers. I am a person that doesn't read a whole lot of thrillers, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm trying to get more into thrillers this year, but I feel like Freida's writing is really easy to understand, really easy to get into. They're quick reads. I enjoyed it. I also read Never Lie by her, and I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one more than I did this one, but I think it was one of those situations where I read this book at the right time, and it was winter time, and it was really cold and nasty outside when I read it, so I felt like I was there. Yeah, solid 3 stars for me. All right, the last book that I want to talk about in this video, I debated on even talking about it at all because I didn't finish it, but I got a decent chunk of the way through, so I decided to throw it in here, and that is Fallen Stars by Imani Ario. This is the second book to Heavenly Bodies, and I am 264 pages into this book. Now, I don't know what it is with me and ships. This book, majority of the plot takes place on the water, at least what I read so far, and I don't know. Same with Metal Slinger. They are on a boat for a really long time, and I just feel like there's not much to do on boats. And like I said, I absolutely loved Heavenly Bodies, but this one, it took me, like the first half of this book took me the first 2 weeks of February to get through. I feel like that's also part of the reason why I didn't read as many books, because I wasn't as motivated to read this book. I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling the same vibes that I'm feeling in Heavenly Bodies. I can't give too much away for the plot because there is so much to Heavenly Bodies that I don't even know how to begin to kind of give you an explanation of what's happening here. But I guess Alara is having troubles with her powers, and they are on a voyage to find somebody that can help her. That's all I'll say. But also, I don't know what's happening with the captain of this ship. I'm very interested to see what happens here and what Alara and his relationship's gonna be like. I also just think that her and Lorenzo's relationship isn't as close. I mean, there's reasons as to why, but I think that's kind of bumming me out a little bit. And I just feel like there's pettiness in between Lorenzo and the captain of the ship. His name's Adrian. I don't know, some of it's funny and then some of it's like, okay, how old are we? I don't know, it's not deterring me away from the series. It's not making me not want to read the third book. I feel like I might enjoy it a little bit more at a different time. That's why I haven't finished it yet. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this book. I know everything that I've heard about the series is usually Heavenly Bodies. A few people have told me that they think this book outdid the first one, which I'm really sad to say. So far, I don't agree. So far, I still really love Heavenly Bodies way more. That's my overall feelings about this one. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know how many books you read in January and February. I feel like I'm gonna be very humbled in the comments down below because I feel like a lot of people on my comments recently have been like, oh, I've read 15 to 40 pages. I wish I could be like you guys and read that much. Maybe one day I'll get there. As for right now, my goal is to definitely read more than 2 books in the next coming months because that's no fun for you guys. And I would love to read and get through so many more books. Anyways, with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope to see you guys in the next one. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you read some really good books and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye guys.